In this video, I do an art journal page inspired by a photograph I love using all pastels. Art journaling, it's something I started doing in 2018, and I really offer these videos to inspire you in joining me in this creativity journey. Now, for this illustration that I'm drawing directly with my pen, I'm using a photo from my phone, and it's my cousin Nancy and her daughter. Now my cousin is on the right and her daughter Jessie is on the left with the beautiful red hair. I'm doing this page today because I just really want to dedicate it to my cousin who's in the hospital. She's had a major surgery a couple of weeks ago, and she's had complications, and right now we're just praying that we find a solution to get Nancy back home. She's a beautiful young woman. She's an artist. She's a mom, and she's my cousin, my sister. I call her that because she's more than a cousin to me. And yeah, this art page is dedicated to her. So, all right, I'm using an artist pen just to jot down the main lines of my illustration. I'm very loosely, doing this drawing that's not necessarily going to look exactly like them. This is an interpretation of this photograph. So when you work from a photograph, you can use it as a reference to really make it more of a portrait. If you want to really give it a resemblance, there's different ways you can do that. You can print your photograph, enlarge it, and use what I call a carbon paper. So you would slide the carbon paper underneath the photograph and between your photo and your journal page, and just trace the main guidelines, the main lines of your photo. So that's one way to do it. You can also put just pastel in the back of a printed photograph, and again you're going to be able to render some lines by tracing over your main lines, the main features of the photograph. I decided to just do it from just using a pen, no eraser. I've been doing that lately and I like it because it's very freeing. So I'm kind of doodling, doing a little shadowing right now. I didn't keep an eye on my photograph the entire time because the first fine lines that I jot down were enough for me to get a good first illustration. Now I'm ripping this page because I didn't like the line of her hair. I just want to make it a little bit more loose, and for some reason in my journal I had an extra page, so it kind of worked out. So I'm doing a little bit more detail for the eyes, and I'm just going to continue my illustration while listening to some pretty music. So the rip that when I ripped the page, it left me with some little pieces of red paper in the center of my page, and I'm just kind of using my red watercolor marker it's a signification of separation. So right now my cousin's in the hospital 3 hours away. Her daughter, of course, is, she misses her a lot. So I'm just doing those red rips of paper to represent how, how it can be so difficult to go through those hardships. And it's just hard to put into words. And for me, doing this art page tonight is very, very therapeutic. So I'm inviting you to choose a photograph of someone that you care about, a photograph that you love, and just do an art page and let some of those emotions out. So right now I'm using my matte medium. It's acrylic matte medium, just to paste some those rips of papers. So when I go over my watercolor pen markers, of course they bleed. They give me that very transparent, translucid look, and I'm just kind of going with it, just not really thinking, just kind of applying the paint. And I want to do some texture underneath the all pastels I'll be using. So now this is gesso, and I'm going over some of the texture that I did with the matte medium, again just to create some texture. Dictionaries define weakness as the condition of lacking strength, a quality or feature regarded as a disadvantage or fault. I think God's definition might read like this: a condition or fragility which teaches us to rely on God, not regarded as a fault, rather an asset which reveals the power of God in our lives. Now I'm going to add some colors, and you'll see I'm going to transform, kind of going to let those red lines that I just did guide me into creating a joyful image, because that's how I'm thinking of my cousin right now. I mean, she's going to pull through. It's a very difficult time, but look at this picture of her with the sunlight hitting her face. She's just like shining, and the love of Jessie just kissing her cheek. I absolutely adore this picture, and I gotta say, my cousin, she looks like my mom. So yeah, I'm just gonna start applying some of that red in her hair, and I'm just gonna listen to some of that nice music and transform this illustration into, as I said, a joyful one. I'm applying the pastels loosely with kind of a very free flow motion, kind of just doodling and just doing small little circles. I'm going to blend with water. These are water soluble, so they're really great. Again, I'm going to leave you all the information about what I'm using for this art journal page in the description below. really like doing half the face a different color. That's something I started doing a long time ago in graphic design school. I remember doing a painting and using that technique of just doing one side of her face, the face of the painting I was doing blue and the other one gray, and I've really stayed with that. So I love doing that. When you use your pastels to do your illustration inspired by a photograph, don't overthink the color transitions and things like that, because especially with pastels, you can blend a lot and also use water, which is what I'm going to do in a little bit, and you'll see pastel is going to really smooth out when you blend it and when you use water. You can also use baby oil. It really gives you a nice smooth look to your illustration. I decided to add the eyeshadow, rose color. So that's exactly what I meant, what I was saying. I didn't think about that. I just grabbed it and I just applied it, and it worked because, as you can see, I used my finger to blend it and it gave me a beautiful shade on her eye. And I added a crown of flower. Of course, it's not in the photograph, but again, when using photograph or your art page journal, just you can add things. This is just, you're just kind of basing your illustration. You're being inspired by a photograph. You're not necessarily keeping everything exactly the way the photograph is. So that's what art is all about. It's really something that you make your own. In anything you're going through, when you go through hardship, I think the hardest thing and the hardest lesson to learn is to ask for help. And if you're going through illness or separation or whatever the case may be, strength comes from God. And I haven't been a Christian for very long, but I used to get discouraged very easily, and now I just know He's there. I know He's besides me, and I know He's next to my cousin right now, and He's going to give her strength. And I found this Bible verse, 1 Corinthians. I can do all things through Him who gives me strength. And that is so powerful, so meaningful. And if you just read this Bible verse a couple times a day, when you wake up in the morning, it just gives you the courage you have to go through the hardship. And, in a way, it's kind of easy to say that when things are going smoothly and everything's great. It's kind of easy to say that. And, but I know that when it's time to, go through those hard moments, it's just, that's where our hearts needs to be. Strength is something you discover also. I remember when I lost my parents, I used to pray when I was a little girl. I used to pray to please God, don't take my parents, make them live forever. But, that's not what life is. And I know for a fact that you find strength that you never knew you had. So I've been asking for a lot of prayers for my cousin, and if you find it in your heart right now to say a prayer for her as you're watching this, please do so. I would really love that. Again, her name is Nancy, And yeah, I really invite you to say a little prayer for her. If you need a prayer for someone in your life, leave it in the comment below and I will pray for her. I will say a prayer. I gotta say, I really like her eyes. She looks very calm and she looks strong, doesn't she? Again, I invite you to print a picture, and if you're not good at drawing, you can actually paste the actual photograph into your page. Doing a journal page inspired by a photograph, it doesn't have to be an illustration. You can use your matte medium like I'm doing right now to glue some heart and some of the quotes and everything. You just glue the picture. It's fine. There's no right or wrong way to do this. I'm just showing you, for me, the illustration was something that really spoke to my heart, and putting that little bird in that crown, that flower crown, it just came as I was doing the page, and I love it. I really love it a lot.
We run to where we belong. I told you, you are the one. You're my satellite. Won't you take me higher than the sun? We can go all night till we find our light and show everyone. Nobody does it like us. When you're feeling down, I know I won't let go. I will catch you when you're spinning out. 'Cause it's the love we found. It's worth more than gold, better than anything I've ever known. When the world's too loud and I need a home, you will be the one that I can call. When the days are long and I've had enough, I know you will be there, 'cause nobody does it better than us. Nobody does it better than us. Nobody does it better than us. Caught up in the feeling now, I keep it in my heart. We run to where we belong. I believe it. You are the one. You're my satellite. Won't you take me higher than the sun? We can go all night till we find our light and show everyone. Nobody does it like us. When you're feeling down, I know I won't let go. I will catch you when you're spinning out. 'Cause it's the love we found. It's worth more than gold, better than anything I've ever known. When the world's too loud and I need a home, you will be the one that I can call. When the days are long and I've had enough, I know you will be there, 'cause nobody does it better than us. Nobody does it better than us. Nobody does it better than us. The world can say what it wants about us, but we won't change.
This is my gelato pastels. I'm using the bright orange to add some highlights.
The world can say
I told you I was going to make it a joyful illustration.
about us,
when I put the gelato with the texturing that I did with the gesso and kind of using the back of my brush to kind of carve into it. It's really cool. It's a little hard to see on the video, but it looks really cool. I love the texture on my art page. So again, using a photograph to do an art journaling page is something you can do for different reasons. For me, it was very, like I said, very therapeutic, adding those hearts. I actually had a conversation with my cousin yesterday, and I told her that I was gonna pray for her, and I didn't tell her I was gonna make a video, and I want to surprise her. So sometimes when you do something like a collage like that, and you can share it with the person that you know that's in that picture, and it's very special, very special. I love how it turned out. I'm very happy with it. I'm gonna do a little healthy glow on her cheeks. This is really great for visualization as well. Well, here she is. I absolutely love how this turned out. I hope you enjoyed my video. Please give me a thumbs up if you did. Connect with me on Twitter and Instagram at Paint with Nat, and subscribe to my channel. And don't forget to look at more videos and share with your friends. Until my next video, be creative. Bye.